Why you should not buy a house, but do this instead. Hey everyone, I'm Rinde from AskRinde, and welcome to the #1 community for real estate, income, and credit. So today, I want to share with you why you should not buy a home and what you should do instead. So there are two main factors for why you should not be buying a home right now. Let's look at the fastest growing demographic in the world, which are rich people. Rich people are actually mostly renters. Billionaire Elon Musk, for example, recently sold most of his properties and is currently renting. Why? Because he felt like most of the properties weighed him down. Billionaire Grant Cardone recently ran on record stating that he prefers to rent rather than own where he lives. As Robert Kiyosaki said, the rich own nothing. So how does that play in with what we're talking about, why you should not buy a home? As I've always shared with my clients over the 18 years of my real estate career, you make your money with real estate when you buy, not when you sell. So meaning that the process of starting ownership, the process of starting to acquire property has to be very carefully thought out and planned, because it's easy to get into a property the wrong way, but it's difficult to get out of it. And you want to make sure that you get into it the right way, so that if you decide to get out of it, you're getting out with some equity. This is another way to basically avoid foreclosure. I've done a video on the 5 ways to be able to avoid foreclosure, and many people actually start the foreclosure process by the way they purchase. So sometimes they should never have bought the property. They had no business buying a property. And some of the clients that we're dealing with now in this current market that we are currently in, we're dealing with them from an aspect of making sure that they understand that they're not just going to have their down payment, they're not just going to have their closing costs, but they really do need to have reserves. Because when you're buying a property, you're buying a baby. You're buying something that's going to need maintenance. There are things that are going to happen. You have to factor in that. So we take time to educate our clients to make sure that they understand that the buying process has to be done correctly. And that means primarily they have to be able to buy at the correct price. There's a right time to buy a house and there's a wrong time to buy a house. Currently, with the market that we're currently in, this is not the time that you should be buying a house. You want to buy a house when the market conditions are right. You don't want to be in an environment where the inventory levels are a little bit higher or decent, and also where you have bank REOs, where you have short sales, where you do have an opportunity for foreclosures, and you do have an opportunity for tax liens, where there's motivation in the market. Currently, with the market that we're in, the inventory level is so low and there's a lot of moratoriums, there's a lot of things that are covered up. There's a lot that's not being exposed on the market. So the people who are purchasing right now, thinking that they're taking advantage of low interest rates, that is very good, the fact that these interest rates are where they are. However, that brings me to our first of two factors. The interest rates where they currently are will continue to go down. We have not hit the floor of where we are when it comes to interest rates. So you have to factor that in. And the second factor is going to be overvalued market. So right now, as we know, the market is well overvalued in all markets. Many markets have seen double-digit increases. And what basically that entails is that there are people who are overpaying for properties currently. The properties are now worth. There are so many properties that people have put offers in on, and what they're doing is that in order to fend off other rivals, they're actually putting money on top of the property and bringing cash at the closing. So in essence, the property comes in and is appraised for a certain amount. They're actually bringing in the cash over and above the appraised value to give to the owner to basically get the deal. That is not good practice. That is not wisdom, because what's going to happen is going to come back to bite them later. So as the law of supply and demand goes, when supply is low, demand goes high, and vice versa. And that's what we're currently in with the real estate market. What you're looking at and seeing, with many people looking at it and saying, well, they can't understand what's going on with this market because it just doesn't make sense. You have record number of unemployment. You have many millions of people who are out of work. You have eviction moratoriums. You have 14 million, well over 14 million facing eviction. And you have many people who are in forbearances, in the millions, 5, 6, 7 million people who are in forbearances that are basically queued up for foreclosure. And yet the real estate market continues to move robustly. And it really simply is because there's an inventory shortage. The inventory has not flooded the market. The banks have not pushed forward with the normal course of taking properties to foreclosure. Then you have moratoriums that are in place that have basically held back landlords from losing their properties or the full brunt of what we've gone through to be able to come to bear. So keep that in mind, that we're still in this lull, and until things start to open up, will we see the truth of what's going on with the market. Right now, what we're seeing is a lot of people riding the wave, those people who are looking to sell, and guess what they're doing? When they're selling, they're going and they're renting, because they know that they are looking at this market. We have sellers right now that are giving us the properties and saying, here, sell my property right away. I know I'm going to get a number of offers. Give me multiple offers, and I want to be able to sell at the height. And what I'm going to do with that money, I'm going to flip that money. I'm going to rent for a while because I'm going to watch and see what's going on. So there are people who see this. There are people who actually own property that see what's happening. And what they're doing, they're actually focusing on renting as opposed to owning. So what is the best option? What is the best solution? So as opposed to buying a house, this is what I recommend that you do instead. You rent to own. Rent to own is the solution to all of this. Rent to own is what the rich are doing currently. I'm actually currently negotiating several properties and working with several homeowners. Some that are $12 million mansions. Some are $500,000 properties. Some are $200,000 properties. But these are people who actually understand the concept and are part of our program, and they are renting to own. These are people who actually have put their property out both for sale and for rent. And what they're seeing is that if they're not getting the full brunt of what they want on sale, they're giving the option to rent to own because they know eventually they'll get exactly what they want for a sale price. So that's something that is very important to understand. So the best solution for this current dilemma is rent to own, because rent to own actually puts you right in the middle. If you're thinking of buying a property currently, I would recommend that you rent with the option to buy it, because we don't really know what the floor of this market is going to be. You don't want to buy the property for the height of what you're going to be paying for it. You want to actually buy the property strategically so that you're buying the property with equity, you're buying the property correctly. If you're buying right now, what's happening is that you're buying at the height of the market. You're buying where it's fever pitch, where the inventory is low, so it's giving a full sense of inflation and values of these properties, and you're buying at the height. You don't want that. You want to be able to buy a property where you're buying it for what it's truly worth. That's what rent to own does. Rent to own gives you flexibility, and that's what the rich do. The rich actually then rent, they lease, they leverage themselves because they want flexibility. They don't want to be anchored down. I've said before on my channel here, rent to own gives you the option to be able to test the market. It gives you the option to be able to see what's going on without the commitment, so to speak, the anchor commitment. Because when you take a mortgage, you buy a property, you're stuck in that mortgage. It's easy to get in. As difficult as some closings could be, anyone that knows, have gone through the process of buying a home, they can let you know that it's very stressful. There's sometimes emotional roller coasters. So if you're working with people who are not competent around you and you're looking to try to buy a house, then that can cause you to go through a lot of stress. Well, rent to own basically mitigates all of that. It gives you the option of flexibility where you're actually in a property. And let's say, for example, you're consolidating, you're bringing your family together to be able to save money. Well, you guys can actually have the benefit of home ownership by actually controlling and using that property. And then later on, you may decide when the market changes and inventories go up and is more conducive, then you can purchase. So again, when you should buy a property is really all based on flexibility and timing. Right now is not the time to be able to purchase, and this is my opinion, because you will be actually at a disadvantage by buying currently. It will be best for you to rent to own right now. So there are two programs that we have. One gives you the option to be able to learn how to make money with rent to own. So in essence, you're able to own where other people live. The other program gives you the option to be able to have flexibility, where you actually, if you're looking for rent to own, we have properties that we can basically place you in that are rent to own, that are available for rent to own. These are off-market properties. These are properties that are exclusive to our database that we actually will place you in based on your criteria that you're looking for. And if it's available, we match make you and we actually place you in the property. This gives you the flexibility of actually having home ownership, a backyard, a driveway, all the things that come with home ownership, yet not the full commitment of an entire down payment that you would be required for from an institutional lender, and also all the stress that goes along with it, with having the credit requirements and all these things that are necessary to be able to acquire and live in a house. So it's very important to understand that rent to own is the best alternative to buying a property currently. It's something that I highly recommend, and I'm placing a lot of our clients in these scenarios simply because it's the safest bet for them right now. Yes, they will be buying. Yes, they will be positioning themselves to be able to buy, but we want to make sure that they're buying correctly. So it's important. Some people will tell you, well, it's definite. You should not buy a house. Some people will tell you you should not be renting. You're throwing money away. And both are wrong. It's all based on flexibility. It's all based on terms. There's no such thing as renting is bad. There's no such thing as buying is bad. However, it all depends on the situation and what is conducive. And in the current environment, it's important to understand that the best solution for you would be to basically test the market, see where the floor is, because with the real estate market, we don't know where it's going to go. You want to be able to control where you live, and you want to be able to control where others live. And that's the key. You want to be able to understand the dynamics of rent to own. So if you'd like to join our rent to own program, it's very simple. Just go to our website, AskRinde.com, and click on rent to own. And you'll be able to see details on both our rent to own programs. We'll be happy to have you in there where we can share with you more insight and details on our program and how you can get started today. If you're on the journey to home ownership and you want to be able to find a property that you can rent to own today, that has the driveway, has the space in the backyard, has a pool, has basically multiple rooms, multiple bathrooms, and you can have a use of basically living in a suburb, somewhere where it's nice, where you have easy access to shopping, malls, and all those other things that come with basically a nice living arrangement and a nice lifestyle. We actually have that for you. And if you're also looking to make money with rent to own, we'd like to open this up and give you the opportunity to join us and help others around the country understand and leverage the benefits of rent to own. So I look forward to sharing more information with you. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. You can also email me, AskRindeNow@gmail.com. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video. Until next time, thank you so much for watching.